Jujutsu Kaisen, Purple, the audiobook. Written by Wisteria Shadow. Inspired by Gege Akutami's manga. Chapter 1. Neglect. The streets of Kichijoji, Tokyo, were quieter than usual, likely due to the gloomy weather consisting of clouds plaguing the sky. It was a late Thursday afternoon. Yukari stood inside a foreign clothing store, counting the value possessed by the handful of coins in his right hand. The teenager's hair was purple and long enough to fall past his black eyebrows, almost reaching his eyelashes, which were black as well. His eyes were a light gray color, contrasting with the black hoodie and dark blue jeans he wore. Moreover, Yukari had a pale complexion and no facial hair. He was 160 centimeters tall and weighed approximately 49 kilograms, making him fairly slim.
4,500, 4,600, 4,700.
The boy frowned. His gaze shifted from the coins to the cashier, who had been waiting patiently for the last minute.
I'm missing 100 yen,
stated the 15-year-old, a slight hint of sadness to his tone. A woolen, purple scarf sat on the counter, with a small 14,800 yen price tag attached to it.
Sorry, please come back when you have enough money,
replied the woman before calling forward the next customer. Yukari sighed.
I thought I had enough already. A coin probably fell out of my pocket on the way here. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
The teenager was about to leave when he noticed a tip jar on the counter. It looked decently full. Yukari froze. He glanced at the cashier. She seemed busy helping a different customer. The boy thought for a second, but ultimately decided against it.
I'm not that kind of person.
Yukari left the store, feeling dejected. It took around 10 minutes for the teenager to get home, and at that point, he would unlock the door to an apartment using his own keys. As expected, no one was home. It was getting dark outside. The boy removed his shoes and flipped a nearby light switch, illuminating the kitchen. Unfortunately, the table did not have any change on it as Yukari had hoped.
She forgot to leave me money for dinner. Again.
The teenager's father often worked until late, and his mother, like always, had gone out for dinner with her friends, leaving the boy to care for himself. Yukari checked the fridge. Empty. He was starving. For the last couple of weeks, the teenager had been saving some of the money left by his parents for food to eventually have enough to buy the scarf he had really been wanting for a while. However, that meant the boy did not have much money remaining, so he had been eating sparingly. His parents forgetting to leave him cash was not an uncommon occurrence, and as such, Yukari occasionally had to rely on the money he had saved up if he wanted to eat. Even so, at times the teenager decided not to eat at all to avoid spending anything. His selection of clothing was pretty limited, so a brand new scarf would have been nice, and although the boy had told his parents, they simply did not care. They rarely did. Yukari entered his barren room. A bed, a desk, and an old wardrobe were the only pieces of furniture present. The white walls and wooden floor gave the impression of simplicity, yet also served to create a desolate atmosphere. Without bothering to turn on the otherwise dim lights, the teenager mindlessly emptied all the money from his pocket and placed it on the desk, except for 3 100 yen coins. He left the uninviting room and made his way to the front door. Once there, the boy put on the only pair of shoes he had, purple sneakers. Yukari then reintroduced darkness into the kitchen by flipping the familiar light switch and exited the apartment. A bolt of lightning flashed in the distance, followed by a tempestuous roar of thunder. Streetlights shone softly, dispelling the darkness in the district. The teenager tightened his grip on the cheap packaged sandwich clutched in his left hand and quickened his pace.
Great. I should have brought an umbrella.
He felt multiple water droplets hitting his face, and not wanting to get wet, decided to wait in a roofed alleyway until the rain subsided. The loud, vicious downpour dampened the chatter that could be heard from restaurants further down the road as a thin, watery film paved the ground. Yukari shivered. He crossed his arms and sighed heavily, realizing it may take some time for it to stop raining.
It's so cold.
A wave of misery washed over him, intensifying the hollow loneliness he had grown accustomed to over the years. The boy sat down against a wall and hugged his knees. He stared at the floor, isolated.
I don't get it. Isn't life It's supposed to be enjoyable. No one has ever cared about me. Not even my parents. Is it my fault? Or am I just unlucky? I guess it doesn't matter either way. It's all pointless, isn't it? To be honest. Why was I even born at all? What's that noise?
Yukari's trance was shattered by a grotesque sound, one akin to that of flesh being torn apart. He looked up. A strange, dark blue glow of energy had appeared before him. It was opaque and constantly changing shape. The teenager's eyes widened in shock. An appendage resembling a human hand extended from the apparition, aggressively grabbing the boy's right ankle. Yukari dropped the sandwich, paralyzed. The metaphysical flesh split open, revealing numerous key-like teeth sprouting from within it. Several soulless eyes with swampy green irises germinated above the monstrous maw, every single one fixed on the teenager. Another hand became visible, and so did 4 pairs of arachnoid legs located near the bottom of the creature. As it formed, the beast let out a distorted wail of sorrow. A curse had manifested. The boy remained motionless, unable to react. He dissociated, helplessly watching as the monster inched closer, its dilapidated fangs nearing his face. An icy breath struck Yukari's skin, snapping him back to reality. The teenager slammed his eyes shut.
No, I don't want to die!
A splatter of blood stained the wall. The creature's mouth trembled erratically, a purple, blood-like substance slowly spilling onto the floor. The boy opened his eyes. He was met by a long, slender arm made of shadow on either side of him, both of which had pierced through the cursed spirit like spears. Their sharp, clawed hands were slightly larger than a person's head, and their coloration was pitch black. Stuck to the wall were 2 dark puddles roughly half a meter in diameter each. They retained the same color as the shadowy limbs, acting as portals for them. The monster's body swiftly disintegrated into ash and disappeared, leaving nothing behind. At the same time, the splatters of purple blood evaporated entirely. The phantom arms vanished into thin air immediately after, as did the dark puddles. Yukari blinked, sitting completely still.
What the hell was that?
Spectre, neglect, I seek indifference, the rain, the cold, my mental state is left a fester. Shadows with eyes and body and fake smiles and lies reflect us all, a self-created mirror. We moved our fates, the reactions to be, but if that's not true, why was I even born at all? The innate talent of a stone upon me, a guiding light to my worthless life. It's helped me find some kind of purpose. I'll carve out my adventure. Can we end that darkness? Can we cleanse that darkness? The threats of humanity's hostility and entwined. Day-to-day struggle, it's meaning vain. Feels like I've been led astray and introspective decay. Make use of your sadness, make use of your sadness. I long for the moment I smile sincerely along with the people helping me when I couldn't. But if I'm on this path for myself, does that make me a narcissist? An exorcism of the past, relishing catharsis at last. Despite my suffering, I'll still be happy.
Chapter 2: Cursed Technique. The dark, chilly evening crowds populated the city, seemingly oblivious to the hideous creature slithering across the pavement. Its blood-red body was freakishly long, comparable to that of a snake. A multitude of murderous mouths covered the monster's flesh, their teeth as black as charcoal. It lacked eyes, but 4 twitching ears could be seen where its face was supposed to be. The apparition phased through every footstep unknowingly landing upon it, leaving it undisturbed. Yukari waited by a traffic light, blankly staring at the creature lurking on the other side of the road. He needed an explanation. It was all the teenager could think about. There had been no trace of the shadow arms that had saved his life 2 days prior, although Yukari theorized that the paranormal occurrence may be related to emotions somehow. The internet proved futile in his search for answers, and the ancient books belonging to the local library did not seem to help either. Despite this, the boy's luck would soon change. The forceful stomp of a black boot snapped the monster in half. Its body withered away instantaneously. Yukari blinked. His vision shifted from the boot to the long black hair of a mysterious young man who continued walking as if nothing had happened. The teenager stepped forward while scanning the traffic light beside him. To his dismay, it displayed the color red. Adrenaline filled the boy's veins as he desperately tried to keep sight of the man. The light turned green. Yukari sprinted in the stranger's direction, watching as it disappeared behind a corner. Determined, the teenager kept running. He saw the man up ahead and stopped to catch his breath. The boy figured it would be better to wait until fewer people were around before asking any questions. Now walking, Yukari followed the stranger. A few minutes passed, and once on an empty street, the man paused and took out a phone from his pocket, subsequently dialing an unknown number.
The curse user was present in the area. Yes. I managed to trace his residuals, but failed to locate him. I'll inform the others soon. Please come pick me up. I've sent you the address already. Thank you.
The stranger's voice was rather deep, yet retained a calm and elegant tone. He ended the phone call and turned his head, noticing the teenager. Yukari made eye contact while remaining expressionless.
You can see those monsters too, can't you?
The man nodded.
Yes. I presume you are referring to curses.
Curses?
Replied the teenager, confused.
That's right. My name is Shinji Miyogusa, and I'm a Jujutsu sorcerer.
Shinji looked about 18 years old. He had black, shoulder-length hair and murky green eyes. Furthermore, the man wore a long-sleeved, collared black shirt, along with a brown leather apron reaching down to his waist. Shinji's trousers were gray, lacking vibrancy. He also bore heavy black boots, which contributed to his tall stature. Fastened to the sorcerer's left hip was an eerie plague doctor mask made of wood, matching the color of his hair.
I'm Yukari Tsumeyami. I don't get it. What are you talking about?
An ominous breeze swept past the teenager. Wordlessly, he waited for an answer.
Every day, the negative emotions that leak out of humans gather together like sediment, forming malevolent entities called curses.
Shinji's speech ceased momentarily.
Formerly referred to as cursed spirits, these monsters often attack humans, devouring them in order to become stronger. Others have a more subtle approach, cursing unsuspecting victims to death and gaining power during the process. It is considered lucky for a person to die a normal death after encountering a curse.
The boy stared at the man lifelessly, letting his words sink in.
Nonetheless, individuals known as Jujutsu sorcerers utilize the negative curse energy inside their own bodies to exorcise these creatures. The only way to defeat a curse is with another curse, as they are immune to physical attacks and standard weaponry.
The monster that attacked me was a cursed spirit?
Yukari's eyes widened.
2 days ago, I was almost killed by a curse. It was about to eat me when a pair of giant arms came out of nowhere and saved my life.
The teenager stepped towards the sorcerer. They were now a little more than a meter apart.
I want to know what those arms were, and why I'm still alive today.
Shinji thought for several seconds.
It is possible that someone witnessed the event and saved you. However, I personally believe that those arms are a manifestation of your cursed energy. Most sorcerers are born with innate talent, allowing them to use cursed techniques. Unique skills and abilities fueled entirely by cursed energy. For example,
the man retrieved a small handful of rosemary from one of the zippable pockets stitched onto his apron and held it in front of himself. He then clicked the fingers on his left hand. The rosemary vanished in the blink of an eye. 5 large needles of dark green light materialized around the sorcerer, floating in place. Moments later, they dissipated into nothingness.
My curse technique is called Apothecary. It works by using herbs and spices to manipulate cursed energy in various ways, making it extremely versatile.
The boy nodded, somewhat astonished.
Hold on. I don't understand why I've never been able to see curses until after I was attacked by one. It doesn't make any sense.
Regular humans are generally unable to see or perceive cursed spirits, as they do not have enough curse energy to do so. It is due to this reason that the existence of curses has been kept secret from non-sorcerers for a very long time.
Shinji's tone grew more serious.
However, when a person is at risk of being killed by a cursed spirit, they usually gain the ability to see it in that life or death scenario. The danger of dying increases the victim's cursed energy temporarily, making curses appear visible to them.
Yukari narrowed his eyes.
But why can I still see curses today?
Since it is created from negative emotions, simply knowing about the existence of cursed spirits can heighten a person's natural levels of cursed energy. Therefore, they retain the ability to see curses.
Explained to the man.
If you truly do possess a curse technique, it is logical to assume that your near-death experience caused your ability to inadvertently activate, exercising the curse and saving your life.
The sorcerer crossed his arms and sighed.
At least, that's my theory.
The teenager stared at his palms.
I have a curse technique?
He shifted his gaze back to Shinji, unsure of what to say.
I have an idea,
Announced the man.
Try activating your technique. Focus on how you felt when you were attacked by that curse, and visualize your cursed energy manifesting in the form of those arms.
The boy nodded and closed his eyes. Taking a deep breath, he attempted to concentrate on the emotions he felt during his encounter with the cursed spirit. 15 seconds passed. Yukari reopened his eyes and frowned.
It didn't work.
He stated coldly. The sorcerer took a moment to think.
Perhaps you need an anchor,
He suggested.
Many sorcerers connect their techniques to specific gestures, such as hand movements, to channel their cursed energy more effectively.
Shinji pressed his palms together.
While not always necessary, anchors are a fundamental part of utilizing Jujutsu. They can be customized based on personal preference, but must be practical for use in combat situations.
The teenager inspected his hands, eventually choosing to clasp them together with the fingers interlaced.
That should work,
Stated the man.
Now focus on activating your curse technique.
Once again, the boy closed his eyes and slowed his breathing rate. He remembered the event, the shock, the fear, the hopelessness. Yukari imagined his curse energy gradually accumulating to create two phantom arms composed of shadows. A thin, tar-like substance began to engulf the teenager's hands. The sorcerer's eyes widened.
His cursed energy!
On the floor beside the boy appeared a dark puddle. Its outline had an irregular flux. A slender arm of black coloration erupted from the darkness, standing 2 meters tall. Residing upon it was a clawed hand, slightly larger than a human head, clearly capable of lacerating flesh with ease. Yukari glanced at the apparition in awe. Before he could blink, the phantom arm and dark puddle spontaneously faded out of existence.
Whoa.
The teenager examined his hands, yet no sight of sorcery remained. A slight smile spread across his lips.
That's pretty cool.
Shinji furrowed his eyebrows.
Is something wrong?
Asked the boy, his brief joy immediately extinguished. The man blinked before shaking his head.
Don't worry, I was just surprised. It is very rare for a person to be born with a curse technique, and those who are typically inherit it as a result of their lineage. Although, I can't say I've ever seen this ability previously.
Car headlights lit up the background, seizing the sorcerer's attention. The vehicle decelerated as it approached him, coming to a complete stop once nearby. Shinji waved at the car, signaling the driver to wait.
There is a school known as Jujutsu High, where young sorcerers learn to fight curses and cultivate their own power.
The man opened the car door and retrieved a small piece of paper as well as a pen. He scribbled a phone number and handed it to Yukari.
We're constantly seeking out talented candidates. It's a dangerous job, but do consider joining.
The sorcerer entered the vehicle and bid the teenager farewell before slamming the door shut. The car sped away without wasting any time, abandoning the boy. Yukari went home with a renewed sense of hope that night. The morning after, he stuffed whatever belongings he had into a plastic convenience store bag and left his apartment. A handwritten note remained on the kitchen table.
I found a place where I belong. Don't bother searching for me.
Signed, Yukari Tsumeyami. Chapter 3. Jujutsu High. A tranquil ambience encompassed the mountainous outskirts of Tokyo. reinforced by the gentle rays of midday sunlight. Dense forests thrived within the area, their only disruption a narrow road cutting through them. The sole source of sound was a black car driven by a young woman with medium-length brown hair and hazel eyes. Sitting in the back seat of the vehicle was Yukari, inattentively staring out of the left side window. They had been traveling for almost 2 hours.
"We're here,"
announced the smartly dressed woman. The teenager flinched slightly, awoken from his detached haze. He shifted his vision to the driver, who had already parked the car. The boy scanned his surroundings. Beneath repeating vermilion torii gates was a long set of stairs leading further into the lush greenery, its destination obscure. Yukari unbuckled his seatbelt and reached for the worn plastic bag lying beside him, which contained a scarce collection of clothes as well as a disorganized cluster of coins. Opening the car door, the teenager stepped outside. The woman locked the vehicle and looked towards him.
"This way,"
she stated. The boy followed her up the seemingly endless stairs, stopping briefly every minute to catch his breath. After around 5 minutes, the two arrived at the institution. Yukari observed the unfamiliar environment, intrigued.
"Welcome to Tokyo Metropolitan Jujutsu Technical School,"
exclaimed the woman in a moderately cheerful tone.
"or Jujutsu High, as most of us call it."
The school consisted of several buildings with a traditional Japanese architectural style. Certain elements of the campus reflected the Buddhist theme, such as statues and shrines. It had a peaceful yet solemn mood, strengthened by the absence of people.
There are 2 Jujutsu educational institutions in Japan. The first one is here in Tokyo, while the other is in Kyoto.
The teenager paused at the sight of a tall wooden building in the distance. Its entrance displayed darkness, although symmetrical specks of candlelight could be seen coming from inside.
"You'll be meeting the principal, Mrs. Yokiuji,"
explained the woman, turning back to face the boy.
"She's extremely kind and compassionate. As long as you gain her approval, you'll be enrolled into Jujutsu High."
She glanced at her watch before directing her focus to the ancient structure up ahead.
"I've got an assignment, so I'll be leaving you on your own. The principal is waiting for you in that building. Good luck."
The woman began to leave, but was quickly interrupted by the sound of Yukari's voice.
Wait!
The teenager bowed for a few moments.
Thank you for everything, Miss Yamakado.
The woman gave a small smile, waved goodbye, and left. Now by himself, the boy made his way towards the building's entrance. Upon arrival, he noticed a silhouette at the opposite end of the spacious room. Candles mounted to sturdy pillars provided adequate visibility, as well as an eerie atmosphere. The figure stepped into the light, revealing a tall, middle-aged woman with short, wavy black hair and dark brown eyes. Her outfit consisted of an expensive gray jacket worn over a white turtleneck, along with black jeans.
"You must be Yukari,"
she declared.
"My name is Kazue Yokiuji, the principal of this school."
The teenager bowed.
I'm Yukari Tsumeyami. Nice to meet you.
"It's nice to meet you too."
Mrs. Yokiuji crossed her arms.
"Shinji already told me all about you. You're interested in joining Jujutsu High to develop your curse technique and exercise curses, correct?"
Yes.
Responded the boy.
"Of course. You wouldn't have come such a long way otherwise."
The woman's facial expression slowly turned serious.
"However, being a Jujutsu sorcerer is far from easy. Witnessing tragedies, risking your life. It takes a heavy toll on mental health. It's essential to possess a strong spirit."
The principal sighed deeply and frowned.
"Most sorcerers are a little unhinged, and with good reason. It's not a job simply anyone can handle. You'll be faced with life-threatening missions regularly, narrowly avoiding death on numerous occasions. In certain circumstances, you'll be forced to watch as your friends and allies are slaughtered before your eyes. Disfigured corpses will cease to be a rare sight early into your career as a sorcerer, though you'll quickly become increasingly desensitized to them."
Mrs. Yokiuji made eye contact with Yukari.
"Are you prepared to deal with all that?"
An abrupt flicker of candlelight glimmered momentarily, causing the teenager to faintly shudder. Silence filled the room, refusing to be broken. The boy stared at the floor. Suddenly, the plastic bag containing his belongings fell to the ground.
I have no reason to live. My life has always been meaningless.
Yukari raised his head marginally, meeting the woman's eyes.
I have no purpose or value. If I were to disappear, I doubt anyone would even notice.
The teenager shivered, crossing his arms into a self-hug.
But discovering the existence of curses, discovering that I have a curse technique, I feel like my life does have a purpose after all.
The boy clenched his fists.
Even if I die out there, I have nothing to lose anyway, so I might as well use my ability to benefit humanity.
A teardrop formed beneath Yukari's left eye. He looked up at the principal, tears filling his light gray eyes.
That's why I want to exercise curses!
Several silent seconds passed without interruption. Eventually, Mrs. Yokiuji offered a sympathetic smile.
I see. If that's truly what you wish to do, then I suppose it would be cruel not to let you join Jujutsu High.
The woman stepped towards the teenager and opened her right hand. A purple button the size of a coin sat on her palm. A black swirl pattern had been engraved into the metal.
Shinji told me you had purple hair. Therefore, I had this one specifically designed for you. I hope you don't mind.
The boy wiped away a tear using his sleeve and happily accepted the badge. He studied it for a moment before clipping it to his hoodie.
Congratulations, you're officially a Jujutsu High student.
Informed the principal.
You'll be starting the first year, although it'll take a day or two for your uniform to be ready. There are currently only 4 other students in this school, 2 second years as well as 2 third years. And unfortunately, they're all busy with their missions right now, but I'm sure you'll get the chance to meet them soon.
Mrs. Yokiuji paused and glanced at her watch.
For the time being, I'll give you a tour of the school and explain the security measures. After that, you'll start your training by practicing mindfulness.
Yukari blinked.
Mindfulness?
That's right,
replied the woman.
Learning to control one's emotions is a necessary aspect of being a skilled sorcerer. It'll allow you to use cursed energy more efficiently, greatly improving your combat capabilities.
The teenager nodded.
Oh, that makes sense.
The principal gave a gentle smile and checked her watch once again.
Do you have any more questions?
No.
All right. I'll give you a tour of the school. Let's go.
Without wasting time, Mrs. Yokiuji began to leave. The boy picked up the plastic bag and followed her out of the building. He placed an arm over his eyes as soon as he stepped outside, waiting until they readjusted to the daylight. There was a lot to explore. A gust of wind scattered the autumn leaves along the stone path. Yukari shivered. It took nearly an hour for the tour to be completed, after which the teenager chose a dorm and stored away his limited possessions. The room was as empty as his previous bedroom, but this did not bother him. The boy then went to the school cafeteria and had his first decent meal in a long time. Being the only person in the vicinity, he ate in silence. His training would be starting soon. Yukari's journey to becoming a Jujutsu sorcerer was not going to be easy, though this did not taint his determination. After all, the teenager had nothing to lose. Or so he thought.
Shadows with eyes and body, fake smiles and lies reflect us all, a self-created mirror. We moved our fates, the reactions to be, but if that's not true, why was I even born at all? The innate talent of a stone upon me, a guiding light to my worthless life. It's helped me find some kind of purpose. I'll carve out my adventure. Can we end the darkness? Can we close the darkness? The threats of humanity's hostility intertwined. Day-to-day struggle, it's meaning vague. Feels like I've been led astray and introspective decay. Make use of your sadness, make use of your sadness. I long for the moment I smile sincerely along with the people helping me in what I couldn't. But if I'm on this path for myself, does that make me a narcissist? An exorcism of the past, relishing catharsis at last. Despite my suffering, I'll still be happy.
Chapter 4. First Mission. The abandoned factory stood before the two sorcerers. A secretive shroud of mist partially concealed the ruined building, further masked by the somber cloud-filled sky. Yukari gazed at the neglected property. Its weathered walls and fractured windows required severe restoration. The main entrance had been chained shut long ago, emanating a sense of hopelessness. The teenager's outfit varied from his usual clothing. He wore a black Jujutsu High uniform consisting of a long-sleeved shirt resembling a gakuran, with his Jujutsu Sorcerer badge clipped just below the collar, and matching, medium-fitting trousers incorporating pockets with purple zippers on both sides. Wrapped around his neck was a purple scarf made of wool, the exact one he had wanted for weeks. The boy also sported a brand new pair of black and purple sneakers.
"Yukari!"
called out the 16-year-old boy beside him. He had straight, dark blue hair reaching the middle of his neck, and eyes of the same color. His hair was tied into two small braids on the right side, giving him a unique appearance. Moreover, the boy was a bit taller than Yukari and wore a similar uniform, except it was a navy blue shade and had a front pocket near the top left of his shirt, which contained a pack of playing cards. He also sported dark blue sneakers. A crimson button was clipped to the boy's collar, signifying his status as a Jujutsu High student. The purple-haired teenager shifted his vision to the friendly teammate.
Yeah?
"I know this is your first mission, but let's do our best."
The fellow sorcerer smiled softly and raised his right hand, offering his ally a high five. Yukari frowned in response and looked down at the floor.
Sorry, Mizuki. I don't like physical contact.
"Oh, I forgot."
Replied the blue-haired boy in a slightly disappointed tone. He scratched the back of his head awkwardly and smiled again, this time a little less brightly. A woman's voice prompted the teenagers to turn around. It was Miss Yamakado. She scanned the screen of a black tablet clutched in her left arm.
We've received reports of cursed energy coming from an abandoned building in this area of town. According to the mission report, the facility ahead used to be a mannequin factory.
The auxiliary manager stopped momentarily, ensuring the sorcerers were listening.
Soon after the company went bankrupt 2 years ago, it was shut down and abandoned, leading to the loss of employment for many workers.
She raised her eyes from the device to the facility in front of them.
We suspect that several cursed spirits have manifested inside the building as a result of its past. Therefore, your mission is to exorcise any curses present and secure the factory. The traces of cursed energy we've detected seem to be fairly weak, meaning it is unlikely you two will encounter anything stronger than a third-grade spirit.
The woman glanced back at the tablet and turned her attention to the two students with a stern yet concerned expression.
However, it is vital that you exercise caution during this mission. We don't know for certain what threats lie within that factory, so please be careful. Any questions?
Hesitantly, Yukari raised his hand.
Could you remind me of the grading system?
Miss Yamakado nodded,
Of course. I'll talk you through it again.
almost as if it were second nature. The woman explained the grading system to the teenager.
In the world of Jujutsu, there are 7 official grades that are assigned to cursed spirits based on their overall power. They range from grade 4 to special grade, the latter being the most dangerous. These are the general guidelines of what you would need if traditional weapons were effective against curses. Grade 4, a wooden bat is enough. Grade 3, if you have a handgun, you can rest easy. Semi-grade 2, but make sure to bring plenty of ammo. Grade 2, close call with a shotgun. Semi-grade 1, explosives should do the trick. Grade 1, even a tank may be insufficient. Special grade, cluster bombs might work. Grades can also be applied to Jujutsu sorcerers, curse users, cursed tools, and cursed objects. It is important to note that sorcerers are expected to defeat cursed spirits of the equivalent rank. Thus, the true strength of a Jujutsu sorcerer is closer to the next rank above their own. This means special grade sorcerers are the strongest entities in Jujutsu.
The purple-haired boy nodded gratefully.
Thank you. Whoa, she explained that all from memory. That's cool.
Now then,
Spoke Miss Yamakado.
I'll draw the curtain.
She made a basic mudra with her right hand and chanted a spell.
Emerge from the darkness, blacker than darkness. Purify that which is impure.
An indigo cloud of cursed energy materialized high up in the sky. It slowly stretched itself into the shape of a dome and enveloped the nearby territory completely, obscuring the three from the outside world.
This will ensure you aren't seen by outsiders while fighting the curses. The curtain also encourages cursed spirits to reveal themselves, making your job easier.
The woman gave a little nod and crossed her arms.
That's all. Good luck.
Yukari checked his phone. He had never owned one until recently. The device was fully black and retained a purple phone case. Its screen displayed the time 10:02 a.m.
It's still early. I feel tired.
He put the phone back in his right pocket before closing its zipper.
Let's get this mission over with.
Mizuki looked at the teenager and smiled enthusiastically.
Yeah!
Prepared to face whatever threats lurked inside that building, the two sorcerers approached the main door. Using bolt cutters Miss Yamakado had given them, the blue-haired boy split the chains constricting the entrance in half. He then placed the tool against the outside wall and crept into the abandoned factory alongside his ally, shutting the rusty door behind them. Yukari scanned his surroundings. The teenagers found themselves in a large room, reminiscent of a warehouse, scarcely illuminated by natural light infiltrating rectangular glass panes covering the ceiling. Due to the curtain's color, an uncanny indigo tint covered the facility, leaving just enough visibility to explore it. Damaged machinery and dented conveyors occupied a significant portion of space, as did the various torn-up mannequins and splintered wooden crates randomly dispersed throughout the place.
What happened here?
Asked the purple-haired boy, frowning at the factory's awful state.
There was a massive protest after every person who worked here lost their job. It looks like things got pretty ugly.
Mizuki shuffled the deck of playing cards in his hands and glanced at the teenager.
Were you not sent the mission information beforehand?
I skimmed over it.
Stated Yukari.
I guess I should have read it more carefully.
The blue-haired boy chuckled and surveyed the room. No curses could be seen, eliciting a sigh. The sorcerer began to walk forward, but the sudden sound of joints cracking instantly caused him to freeze. Mizuki's gaze was fixed on a ragged mannequin unsettlingly sprawled out on the floor, several meters from where he stood. Its decrepit body twitched uncontrollably as the figure's limbs violently snapped in jagged directions. The lacerations in its fabric simultaneously tore themselves open, unmasking multiple, malicious eyes menacingly staring back at the two teenagers. Robotically, the mannequin scrambled to its feet. Another nearby mannequin began to do the same, followed by a third awakening further behind.
Here we go!
Announced the blue-haired boy, separating a handful of cards from the rest of the deck using his right hand.
I'll take care of the first two. You exercise the one that's further away.
A blue glow enveloped the fan of playing cards in the sorcerer's hand. The possessed mannequins threateningly stumbled towards him, their sole intent murder. Mizuki grinned and narrowed his eyes.
Innate technique! Playing card manipulation!
The boy tossed a set of playing cards into the air. As if they had a life of their own, the cards changed their trajectory and scattered, ambushing the first mannequin with a lethal barrage of razor-sharp cardboard. A stream of purple blood gushed out of the deep cuts inflicted upon the curse's eyes, inevitably resulting in the figure's lifeless collapse. Mizuki flicked his wrist to the right, sentencing the second mannequin to the same fate. The playing cards effortlessly dispatched the cursed spirit and elegantly returned to the deck. Yukari watched in awe.
That's an awesome technique.
The final mannequin staggered in his direction, demanding the purple-haired teenager's attention. The boy frowned and clasped his hands with the fingers interlaced.
Innate technique.
A black, tar-like layer of cursed energy engulfed Yukari's hands. Two dark puddles, half a meter in diameter each, appeared on the ground beside him, one to the left and one to the right. The teenager stared at the curse coldly, his light gray eyes devoid of emotion.
Shadow hands.
A phantom arm bearing sharpened claws erupted from each shadow swamp. They remained beside the boy, unnervingly standing 2 meters tall. Like a moth to a flame, the mannequin drew near. Without hesitation, the shadow hands carved the cursed spirit's body, purple blood ruthlessly trailing behind them. The mannequin's dismantled cadaver dropped to the floor, the phantom arms subsequently retracting into their swamps before vanishing. Yukari let out a sigh of relief.
Great job!
Exclaimed Mizuki, running up to his teammate with an excited expression.
You'll definitely be promoted to 3rd grade in no time.
Thank you.
The purple-haired teenager's focus was stolen by the mannequins they had fought, which were now lying immobile on the ground.
I thought curses didn't leave anything behind after being exorcised.
You're right. Although sometimes cursed spirits will haunt an inanimate object to become more stable, meaning the possessed object is left behind even if they are exorcised. They're called cursed corpses. It's kinda creepy.
The blue-haired boy scanned the rest of the facility and turned to his ally.
Let's keep exploring. There might be other curses we haven't seen yet.
Yukari nodded.
Okay.
The two sorcerers made their way into the unknown. They spent a few minutes searching for traces of cursed energy, only to find nothing. It was eerily quiet.
I wonder if Mizuki meant it when he said I'd be promoted to 3rd grade in no time. It's only been a couple of weeks since I enrolled into Jujutsu High. I still managed to exorcise a curse, but I'm surprised at how weak they were, given what happened in this place. I have a bad feeling.
Mizuki noticed his teammate blankly staring at the factory's entrance.
Are you alright, Yukari?
The mission information said there was a massive protest in this factory, so why were there barely any cursed spirits? An event like that would probably generate a lot of cursed energy. Something's not adding up here.
A tall silhouette resembling a scarecrow loomed over the purple-haired boy. Mizuki's eyes widened. He shouted at the absent-minded ally, rushing towards him.
Look out!
The teenager's trance was shattered by a hostile screech. He tried to glance at his teammate, failing to realize that the blue-haired boy had already tackled him to the side. In that split second, Yukari caught a glimpse of what appeared to be a white orb, flying past where he had been standing and crashing into the ground. An explosion of dust thundered ferociously, its sheer volume deafening. Mizuki yelled as blood spilt from his left ankle. The purple-haired teenager's sight snapped to the frightening figure. A luminous orb of white yarn formed above its right shoulder, glitching frantically with black dots akin to television static. Unable to think, Yukari summoned a shadow hand just in time to block the incoming projectile, forcing it to detonate upon impact. The silhouette let out an anguished scream amidst the dusty smokescreen. The purple-haired boy desperately wrapped his ally's arm around his neck and dragged them both out of the grainy fog. Coughing relentlessly, the two sorcerers stumbled behind a wooden crate to cover. The smog started to settle. Yukari glanced at the apparition from his hiding spot. He gasped and immediately tucked his head back to avoid being spotted. Mizuki sat beside the teenager, afraid to even whisper. The distressed look in his eyes was enough to surmise that whatever had attacked them would be far scarier than a 4th grade curse. The purple-haired boy remained frozen, quietly gazing at the floor. He only had one thought.
What is that thing?
Chapter 5. Confrontation. The teenagers sat in silence, cautious of the creature that sought them out. Yukari glanced around the crate's corner, exhaling nervously upon seeing the apparition facing away from their location. A cursed presence lingered in the air.
It doesn't know where we are,
whispered the purple-haired boy. His voice was shakier than usual.
I'll contact Miss Yamakado.
The teenager took out his phone and entered a passcode. Just after pressing call, he let out a quiet gasp.
There's no signal.
Shadows with eyes and body, fake smiles and lies reflect us all, a self-created mirror. We moved our fates, the reactions to be, but if that's not true, why was I even born at all? The innate talent of a stone upon me, a guiding light to my worthless life. It's helped me find some kind of purpose. I'll carve out my own future. Can we end the darkness? Can we close the darkness? The threats of humanity's hostility intertwined. Day-to-day struggle, it's meaning vague. Feels like I've been led astray and introspective decay. Make use of your sadness, make use of your sadness. I long for the moment I smile sincerely along with the people helping me in what I couldn't. But if I'm on this path for myself, does that make me a narcissist? An exorcism of the past, relishing catharsis at last. Despite my suffering, I'll still be happy.
The curtain.
Murmured Mizuki in a frail tone, pointing up at the indigo light shining through the ceiling panes. Yukari sighed. He set the device down on the ground before unwrapping the scarf from his neck and moving closer to the injured teammate. The purple-haired teenager flinched, staring at the bleeding wound.
It doesn't matter. It's just a stupid scarf.
After a few moments, he tied the scarf around Mizuki's ankle.
Thank you.
Whispered the blue-haired boy with an appreciative smile.
I'll buy you another scarf.
Yukari frowned.
No, it's my fault we're in this mess to begin with.
A distorted voice startled the two sorcerers.
Where are they?
A loud stomp followed the inhuman speech. Mizuki trembled. The purple-haired teenager checked behind the crate for a second time. The apparition was now further away, planted beside a set of broken cardboard boxes. Its picture-perfect stillness had the potential to effortlessly creep almost anyone out. The boy shivered and glanced back at his teammate.
It's looking for us.
The blue-haired boy sighed in response and closed his eyes.
I wish Hinotori were here.
Yeah,
Responded Yukari.
just what grade is that thing?
I'm not sure. I've never fought anything stronger than a second-grade curse before.
Mizuki glanced at the blood-soaked scarf wrapped around his ankle.
But since it can use curse techniques, it's probably a semi-first grade at least. There's also the fact that it knew how to conceal its cursed energy.
Another loud stomp sounded throughout the building, startling the two sorcerers. The purple-haired teenager mustered up enough courage to check behind the crate again, yet quickly regretted his decision. The cursed spirit still stood far away, except it now faced towards their hiding spot. Yukari felt his heart skip a beat. He moved his head back reflexively, praying that the apparition's black pupils had not perceived him. The boy held his breath. Silence.
Where are they?
The purple-haired teenager exhaled slowly.
At this rate, we're both going to die. I've got to think of something.
He scoured the factory with his gaze, noticing a rusty red door roughly 30 meters away from where they were sitting. Above it was a bright sign depicting a green humanoid figure running through a white door. Yukari's eyes widened.
A fire exit. This is perfect. Mizuki, do you still have your cards?
Asked the fourth-grade sorcerer.
No,
Replied the wounded ally.
I dropped them when you got attacked by the curse.
He sighed again and crossed his arms before making eye contact with Yukari.
Did you have an idea?
The purple-haired teenager nodded.
Yeah, but there's no hope of getting them without that thing noticing.
A chilling sound caught the boy off guard, one that was fearfully familiar. He shifted his vision to a mannequin lying near the fire door, watching as a collection of aggravated eyes sprouted from its battered body. Yukari froze.
No way. There was another cursed corpse?
Mizuki followed his teammate's gaze and looked back at him with a dreadful expression.
What should we do?
He whispered in a panicked voice. The mannequin stared back at the two sorcerers as it struggled to its feet. Impulsively, the curse staggered in their direction with speed. The purple-haired teenager clenched his teeth and clasped his hands, preparing for the oncoming threat. A white orb shot towards the unsuspecting cursed spirit. An ear-piercing roar echoed across the facility. A mannequin head ricocheted off the wall and landed beside Yukari. A thick, powdery smog shrouded the zone of impact, steadily dissolving to reveal a headless, dismembered mannequin motionlessly hugging the floor. The blue-haired boy shivered. He glanced at his ally for reassurance. As if hypnotized, Yukari silently gazed at the ground. His eyes lit up.
It'll be fine, Mizuki.
Yukari faced his frightened friend and offered a comforting smile.
I have an idea.
The sight of a severed mannequin head slamming into a machine and creating a loud metallic clang sound caught the apparition's attention. It scanned the surrounding area, noticing as a teenage boy with purple hair stepped out from behind a wooden crate. The curse's black humanoid eyes widened.
Found you!
The cursed spirit standing before the boy resembled a scarecrow. Its deranged eyes with black irises and white scleras were partially hidden by a frayed straw hat atop their apparition's head, which cast a dark shadow over the rest of its frozen face. The curse lacked a nose. Its mouth consisted of chaotic, complex needlework stitched into an unchanging smile, composed of thin, black threads. It wore a tattered, checkered shirt retaining a blue and purple pattern. The monster's arms remained stretched outwards to either side, as if forcibly held in place by a metal rod embedded deep inside its cursed flesh. In place of the scarecrow's hands were interweaving strands of white yarn hanging loosely beside it. Furthermore, the apparition had no legs. Its body was attached to a slender wooden pole with a black, crow-like talon at the base, which gave the cursed spirit a height of almost 3 meters. The purple-haired teenager narrowed his eyes. He thought back to an earlier conversation with Mizuki.
Can you still walk?
Just about, I think. Why?
I'm going to keep that thing distracted. Use the fire exit over there to escape as soon as you get the chance. I'll do the same once you're out.
The scarecrow tilted its head playfully, refusing to break eye contact with the boy. The sutures in its mouth began to form a sinister smile.
No way, Yukari. You'll die!
Maybe, but we'll both be dead if I don't do something.
The teenager took a deep breath and let out an anxious sigh, attempting to soothe his racing heartbeat.
Don't dissociate. Don't flinch back in fear. Just focus on running and dodging its attacks.
He felt a bead of sweat trickle down the back of his neck as adrenaline pumped through his veins.
I can do this. That's right. I can do this.
An orb of cursed energy shot towards Yukari. He sprang sideways, narrowly avoiding the destructive detonation of dust, and sprinted away from Mizuki's location. The scarecrow snarled. The teenager vaulted over a wooden crate, ignoring the explosive echoes flinging serrated splinters into the air directly behind him.
Mizuki saved my life. He got hurt because I wasn't paying attention.
The boy noticed a set of conveyors a few meters ahead of him and changed direction, running past the cursed spirit.
Now that I think about it, I haven't changed at all, have I? I'm just as sad as before.
The apparition turned to face the sorcerer. Yukari registered an approaching orb of white light and instinctively leapt forward. He slammed his eyes shut as dust struck his clothing.
It's not my fault, though. My upbringing wasn't fair. The family I deserved was never there for me.
The teenager stumbled, yet kept sprinting.
Still, feeling like a victim won't change a thing. The only person who can improve my life is me. It seems scary, but it's not like there's any other choice.
A nearby explosion sent metal fragments flying through the air like shrapnel. Pain slashed the boy's right forearm. Blood saturated his sleeve, dyeing the ripped fabric red. Yukari suppressed a silent scream and rushed through the asphyxiating miasma of dust.
After all, I want to smile sincerely too.
A sonorous sound reverberated at the back of the factory. Mizuki stood in front of the fire exit, unable to unblock the push bar keeping the door shut.
It won't open!
The cursed spirit turned around and spotted the injured sorcerer. A glowing orb materialized above its right shoulder. Yukari's eyes widened.
Leave him alone!
An unexpected weight threw the scarecrow off balance, sending the explosive yarn into the ceiling. Glass shards showered the facility. The purple-haired teenager's arms and legs ensnared the apparition, awakening its wrath. The cursed spirit violently jerked its body to the left before launching the boy against the wall with force. Yukari crashed into the concrete and dropped to the floor. He looked up at the monster as blood streamed down his face. The blurry image of white light shining above the scarecrow's right shoulder entered the sorcerer's vision.
No, not like this.
The main door to the building burst open. A teenage boy possessing multicolored red hair and amber eyes bolted towards the curse while retrieving a handful of firecrackers from the black backpack slung over his right shoulder. The apparition's eyes widened. It turned to face the newcomer, automatically unleashing its attack. The teenager tossed the backpack to the side and slid beneath the lightning-fast projectile with skillful coordination before smoothly rising to his feet and hurling firecrackers at the monster.
Cover your ears!
Yelled the boy while cracking his fingers. A blinding red blaze consumed the cursed spirit. A whistling roar boomed throughout the entire factory. Yukari covered his eyes and ears. The noise quickly subsided. The purple-haired teenager looked up just in time to witness the final flaming cinders of charred curse disintegrate into thin air, leaving no remains. His gaze shifted to the familiar face.
Hinotori.
The sorcerer had a distinctive appearance. His messy short hair was a random mixture of red, blue, and white streaks, complementing his vibrant amber eyes. Hinotori's teeth were noticeably sharp. He wore a bright red, short-sleeved polo shirt, baggy dark blue trousers, and white sports shoes, along with a white hoodie wrapped around his waist. Moreover, the teenager was quite muscular and moderately taller than Mizuki. His arms were covered in scarlet burn scars, yet the rest of Hinotori's appearance suggested he was no older than 17.
Damn, that hurt more than usual.
The sorcerer's scars smoldered visibly, contradicting his stoic expression.
I got a call from Miss Yamakado after she heard an explosion coming from the factory,
he announced, his slightly rough voice fairly energetic.
Luckily, yours truly was in the area and made it to the party just in time.
Mizuki held onto the fire exit's push bar to keep his balance.
That was way too close.
He exclaimed, unsure of whether to smile or grimace.
Thank you for getting here quickly.
Hinotori grinned.
You bet. I'm just glad you guys are alive.
He went to pick up his backpack and winced upon seeing the countless shards of glass scattered on the ground.
Good thing I didn't get hurt too. I'm taking both of you to the hospital.
Thank you,
murmured the purple-haired boy as he lay on the cold floor. Yukari's whole body hurt immensely. He became aware of the glowing blood puddle beside him. Exhaustion. The teenager collapsed. His vision darkened as faint shouts echoed in the background.
Yukari!
Shouts that sounded vaguely similar to the name Yukari. The boy shivered, fading in and out of consciousness. Eventually, silence befell him. The Neglectful Nurturing Arc. End.